So remember how badass you are. Remember all the challenges you've overcome in your life, and realize everything that you need to succeed is within you now and within the team that you're going to build. And you don't have to see the entire staircase to just take the first step.
I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I am bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with Robyn Benincasa, who is an award-winning keynote speaker, a two-time adventure racing world champion, a CNN hero, and a 20-year veteran San Diego firefighter. Just one amazing thing after another. Welcome, Robyn.
Yay, thank you. This is so much fun.
I know. Thank you for doing this interview with me. I'm excited to talk donuts today. And with that in mind, what is your favorite donut if you have one?
Oh gosh, I'm a jelly donut girl. I like surprises on the inside, and you never know when you're going to get to the jelly part. And sometimes it comes out on its own. So it's kind of an adventure. That's what I like about it.
That feels really appropriate. We found the perfect personality match donut for Robyn. That's great. I love it. Well, I said just a little bit about you up front, but I'm sure there's a lot more to know. What should we know about your background?
Oh gosh, too many years to go over here. But I kind of grew up as a solo athlete. Kind of as a kid, gymnastics, diving, track, cross country. I was a diver in college, and then went on to start doing Ironman triathlons, and the endurance events just started getting longer and longer for me. So I did 9 Ironmans. Then I discovered the sport of adventure racing, and that's where I found my true love and my true strength. Because I was still like, I did okay at Ironman, but I always felt like, man, if I could just turn around and do this back to their direction, it would have sucked. But I felt like I would have been even more competitive if the race were longer. So when I discovered adventure racing, I just immediately knew. I read about it in a magazine, and I knew it was the sport that I was meant to do. And so they're basically 7 to 10 day long, nonstop ultra endurance races with teams of 4 or 5 people. You have to have 1 man and 1 woman on each team. And so it's like basically mixed gender teams. And the race director will ask you to meet them in the most remote place they can find on Earth. And they say, we're on a high plane in Tibet. And they say, okay, ready, set, go. And we'll see you guys in 600 to 1,000 miles. You have to navigate your own route through 30 to 40 checkpoints. And it's all non-motorized transportation, like kayaking, mountain biking, whitewater rafting, mountaineering. And the clock never stops. So if you sleep and when you sleep is all part of your team strategy. And the real kicker is that every single person on the team has to stay together within 50 yards of each other. So it's not a relay. So the entire team travels together. And if you lose one person along the way, like if one person gets injured or quits, your entire team is disqualified. So it brings up such an interesting dynamic. And not only, the ultra endurance aspect and the mental side of it, but also the team building and the teamwork side of it. And after I did that for several years, I kind of started going that route with helping companies understand the value of human synergy, and how we create that culture where we're better together than any individual could ever be alone. And that started way back in the day, basically right alongside starting as a firefighter with the city of San Diego. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past 20 something years. More than that. Frightening.
What an incredible background. And I think it's interesting, even from when you were younger and the list of sports that you rattled off, it sounds like people must have known that you were gearing yourself up for something different and bigger. Because when I think about diving and cross country, those seem like it's not cross training for each other. It's completely different things that you need for each of those sports. All of the things that you did were totally separate, but they've now all become useful.
Yeah. I even took a weird a weird sidebar into judo for a number of years. And, it was all just kind of a process of following my strengths, just kind of as I got older, figuring out, okay, what was I good at? What was I not good at? I realized I was terrible at trying to go really fast. And so I was like, okay, or I was also like a bigger person. I was, as my sister would say, you're not frail. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll find a sport with weight divisions so that I'm not racing against, I'm a Rottweiler competing with greyhounds in triathlon. So like, maybe I'll do a Rottweiler sport. And so, yeah, it has been that process of just figuring out, kind of having a lot of deep thoughts and a lot of experience in what you're good at. And, like kind of where is that vein of gold in yourself? Like, what am I better at than most people? And what am I crappier at than most people? And, when you kind of, look for, what you can do with your strengths, I think that's kind of a fun way to do it. I wasn't wrapped around the axle by any one sport. I was just all about finding out what matched best with, with my mind and my heart, my capabilities. And yeah.
What a brilliant
Still
way
doing
to
it.
look at the world and your capabilities and your goals. And so for those who are wondering what a Take the Doughnut conversation is about, because we're sort of rolling into that here, for me, Take the Doughnut is an expression that is the same as Carpe Diem. It comes from this really strange thing that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on the table and it became an object lesson for me in what it looks like when you leave an opportunity behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. And for those who want to hear more of that story, I'll link a video here. But basically, this whole conversation is about, practically speaking, what does it look like when we go after opportunities, goals? What is that like day to day for us? So, I mean, I already have a sense of how driven you are, but I'll ask this question to get us started. How are you with going after goals? What is that process like for you?
Oh, gosh. They kind of creep up on me sometimes, but if I don't have a goal, I kind of lose my mind. Like I have to have something out there. So if I'm starting from the beginning process wise, I always have to find the thing. I've kind of always said to myself or my friends about goal setting, like you have to find the thing that wakes you up at night to dream about it. Like what is that? Like what is the thing that I want to accomplish, the goal I want to have, or whatever that is. You just got to keep searching. Kind of read, talk to your friends, figure out what your strengths are, figure out what your passion is. So that's, first of all, is the search. You got to find the thing, and it can't just be something that's externally motivated. It has to be internally inspired. Because motivation is, I would say motivation is for now, inspiration is forever. So it's got to be the thing that's deep in your soul, that you're driving for. And a lot of that is driven by your sense of purpose. So you got to have a why along with it. So there's the search, and then there's that sense of purpose. What is the why around that goal? And I think it cements that goal, and it makes us gives us a lot more strength when we really have a higher sense of purpose associated with it. Like, for example, when I started the Project Athena Foundation, where we kind of take survivors on adventurous dreams as part of their recovery. It was all about like kind of taking what I felt in endurance sports and giving that gift to survivors of medical or traumatic setbacks and showing them how amazing and strong they are after a big life setback. And I started Project Dana because I had my own life setback, and I put something on my calendar, a big challenge to see if I still had, anything deep inside. So I think it makes you a lot stronger when it's also attached to that higher sense of purpose. And then you got to put a team together, because you don't have all the answers. You're not going to have all the answers. You want to interface with people who have been where you want to go, and who are willing to take under their wing to coach you. So, that next phase for me is, who are the right people to bring into place? Because I don't have to know how to handle everything. I just need to build a team that can handle anything. And, and we can kind of, rely on each other. And then you need to make it real by, putting something on the calendar, signing up for something. If your goal is a marathon, 8 months out from now, you sign up for a marathon. Because who of us would have studied if there wasn't a test? Nobody. So you have to put that on the calendar. You got to put that big thing out there that you are working toward. And then you don't just dream about it or set a goal. You got to prepare. You got to take the steps to make it real. And people who are living the dreams that you may want to have, or the goals that you want to accomplish, they aren't just, they're lucky, but they're lucky in the sense of they discovered that their luck was going to happen where this opportunity met their incredible preparation. So, take the steps, get the coaching, do all the lead up, do everything that you need to do to succeed. You can't just dream about something. Like, a goal is cool, but it has to deteriorate at some point into really hard work.
Absolutely.
And then what I like to do too is, if I have a big goal and I'm afraid I'm gonna back away from it, I always tell two people. You have to tell two people what the goal is, so that first of all, they're your cheerleaders, but second of all, so you're mortified if it doesn't happen. So, it's like, tell several people, like them. And plus they can also maybe get you in touch. Like, the more people that know what you want to do, all of a sudden that universe opens up and they start bringing you people like, oh, my friend did this. My friend ran a marathon. My friend is this physiologist. My friend is fantastic with nutrition. Maybe you should go see them. So once you sort of put that goal out into the universe, all kinds of cool things, start coming your way. And then, then you get to that start line.
Well, you've mentioned a couple things in that answer, but I wanted to dig a little bit more into what keeps you motivated. And, you mentioned a couple things along the way with the previous answer, but is there anything specifically that you do tactically to stay on top of that motivation?
Once I've put that thing out in the universe, that date, that test, that whatever it is, that goal, I'm like a dog with a bone, honestly. But that's why it's so important that it has to be something really deep in your soul. Like, it has to be something that you're like, like, I really want to do that. I really want to accomplish that. Like, the first time I read about adventure racing, I was just like, there was a light switch went on. And I was like, I must do that. First time I read about Ironman, I have to do that. So, and then, started Project Athena. I got the idea for the nonprofit. I had a bunch of hip replacements. And in that process, I could only, I had to crutch around for lots and lots of months, but I realized, I could still use my upper body. So I decided to start paddling instead. And then it kind of became, well, what can I do without my legs for a while? So it's like, it's just that deep motivation to that why, that big why. Like, I want to show the world it's not about the setback, it's about the comeback. And, so that's what I'm saying is, it's like, it's got to be that deep inspiration, or it's easy to kind of let it go. So the search is the most important part. Like, what's that thing that you can't live without? And
Absolutely.
And my dream for all of my family when they had kids, everyone's like, oh, I want them to be this, I want them to be that. And my dream for people is that they always have the most incredible goals and dreams, because some people just don't have them. And, I think it's, and I feel bad for people that don't have goals and dreams. I really do, because they're so much fun to chase and accomplish. And, you're an inspiration to other people when you're chasing your dreams.
Absolutely. Well, when you chase dreams, especially like the size of a dream that you tend to go after, I'm sure there are challenges that come up along the way. So I'm curious if there are any types of challenges that just you seem to keep encountering them no matter what you're doing. Like, is there a brand of challenge that's your Achilles heel?
Yeah, when it comes to starting businesses, I tend to get excited about something and then jump off the cliff and grow my wings on the way down. And I do. It's just, why didn't I understand that? Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I have this in place first? But I also know from experience that if you have the right team, you can handle that scramble. You can jump off the cliff and grow your wings with with the right team around you. So I've had some, some stops and starts, with businesses where I didn't realize, I didn't know what I didn't know. But then I realized, okay, I got to get more people on board, that actually know what they're doing. And I tried and failed at a couple things. Like I'd hire a company to manage, for example, a short-term rental, and that didn't work out. And so you also have to know, when to abandon ship on if a teammate isn't right, or if it's not what you need. It's like, you just have to keep driving. You have to keep moving forward and figure it out. But, it's funny. I would never go to a start line with the lack of preparation with which I've started a couple of businesses. But that's the live and learn thing. And now I have the right team on board, and I'm very excited about it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, who knows how you're going to answer this. I'm wondering what the biggest donut you've ever taken is, and that could be personal, professional, recent, long in the past. What comes to mind for you?
Oh my gosh, too many donuts. I've taken bags of donuts. Probably, yeah. All right, let's see. I was the person who got very excited about adventure racing, and I did one big race, but then I called up the #1 team in the entire world and talked to the team captain, and I said, I want to race on your team. Can I have a tryout? And they didn't know I existed. And they came to San Diego. We did a race together. They gave me a tryout, and then we went to the World Championships in Ecuador, and won that race. And it was all, just that initiative to take up the phone and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I think I'm capable of racing with you guys. And, if you're willing to find out. It was crazy, but it but it worked out really well. And then I was able to kind of stay in those circles for a long time. But I look back and go, that was nuts. Like, just calling up the best team in the world. I also started a nonprofit, which called Project Athena, and we take survivors of medical or traumatic setbacks and help them live an adventurous dream as part of their recovery. So every year we take groups of survivors who've, it started to be cancer survivors, but now it's kind of any medical or traumatic setback. We've had, brain injured people, amputees, domestic violence survivors, just kind of all across the board. Whoever we can help with endurance sports to show how amazing they are after a big life setback. That's what we do. So we take survivors, and we take volunteers / fundraisers also. If anyone wants to come on a big endurance adventure, hey, set a goal. We do Take the Doughnut. We do a rim to rim to rim across the Grand Canyon and back in 2 days. We do a kayak and bike ride from Key Largo to Key West over 3 days. We do a 50-mile hike through the red rocks of Sedona. And these are all like ultra endurance adventures that are doable by real people, if they do our training plan. So that was another out of left field kind of, after my first replacement, I thought, okay, I'm going to paddle, but maybe I can do this for other people. It started out to be other women, but now we take women and men, and we call them Athenas and Zeuses. So then another crazy donut was, after my first hip replacement, I was like, I'm going to do a big, long ultra endurance paddling race, and, focus on what I can do instead of what I can't do. So I entered, well, first of all, I set out to break the current Guinness 24-hour world record for longest distance paddle by a female in a kayak in 24 hours, and set that record on flat water, and then went up to the Yukon River and paddled 24 hours on the Yukon on moving water, and set that record. And then entered a race called the Missouri River 340, where which I had never done a solo race that long before, but it's a 340-mile nonstop paddle from Kansas City to St. Charles, Missouri. And so my parents would be like, no more donuts. She's taken too many donuts. and then recently, this is my most recent donut, March 1st. I bought a golf course, a crappy golf course. And I don't even play golf. but yeah, that one was the biggest donut, I think,
Wow.
really ever, because I'm going to spend the next 10 years trying to make enough money to make this thing amazing again. And yeah.
Well, I was going to ask, is there a donut that you're taking right now? Is that it?
That's the big one. Yeah. Like it was only 3 weeks ago
Yeah.
that
Wow.
we closed on it. So, and it's kind of my retirement dream was going to be years and years from now, but I went and looked at this land, and first I just loved land, and I'm like, wait, it's a golf course. What do I do now? And they're like, well, you could run the golf course. You could run the golf course in the restaurant. So yeah, it's been 3 weeks of absolute total mayhem. But trying to get it, like figure out the vendors and the liquor licenses and all the stuff that we have to figure out. But I have the most amazing teammates on board. There's no way I could have done it without them. There's absolutely no way. So we have the most amazing team, and I want to have a place where people can have their most special life events and memories. I want to have weddings there. I want to, I just want to create this destination location where people can have their most memorable days with their friends and family.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Yeah. And my own animal sanctuary too,
yeah.
out on the land. So yeah, it's kind of shifted into, what's next now.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, as you're talking about what you want to do and what you're doing, there are probably people listening who are trying to take a donut of their own. Maybe they've started or haven't started yet, but they're just looking for what the next step is going to be. So let's sprinkle some encouragement. And what advice would you give to those people who have a donut they want to take? They're just not sure how to step forward from here.
I keep coming back to surround yourself with amazing people. Like our courage comes from three places. Like sometimes you're born with it, but we can also build it and we can also borrow it. So, when that belief in ourselves, like the courage that we're born with, runs a little thin, we can also kind of rely on the courage that we've built. We've all done a lot of hard things in our lives, and we've been okay. We've overcome, we've gotten the right people on board. We've made it work. So remember how badass you are, remember all the challenges you've overcome in your life, and realize everything that you need to succeed is within you now and within the team that you're going to build. And you don't have to see the entire staircase to just take the first step. I think sometimes we want all the answers. And I've found over and over again that sometimes you just got to start moving, and then route yourself, figure it out along the way. And then the third way we can get our courage is we can borrow it. And I think sometimes we're like nervous to reach out to other people to get that courage and that encouragement. And it's so nice to see ourselves the way that the people that love our show see us. And if you kind of go to these people that love you and tell them your dreams, tell them your goals, they're going to remind you how amazing you are. You can borrow your courage from them, and you can borrow your courage from building an amazing team. So you don't have to have all the answers yourself. And I think, that's even, kind of a mistake that I've made in the past, and not taking opportunities. I was too afraid that I couldn't handle it. But, I keep thinking back to adventure racing and going, things were never the way that we thought they were going to be. They were like, oh, this is going to be a class 2 whitewater paddle. It was a freaking class 4 whitewater paddle by the time we got there. Oh, this is a nice, this is a 16,000 foot peak you're going to climb, in the spring. We get there covered with snow, and that's, it's just what is, you don't have to have all the answers. You have to build a great team around you and say, whatever it is, we're going to handle it together. And so, think about yourself in a couple of years and how like amazed and thrilled and excited you're going to be to have accomplished, your dream. And just actually saying that reminds me of something funny that a college counselor said to my boyfriend. He was talking about getting his MBA. And he said, well, gosh, I'm going to be 25 if I, continue out of school and then go on and get this MBA. I'll be 25 when I graduate. That's pretty old. And the counselor said, well, how old are you going to be in 3 years if you don't get your MBA? And I was like, oh, good point. Some people are like, oh, I'm too old, I can't possibly. It's never too late. It's every day you get to write a page in your own autobiography. It doesn't matter how it started, it matters how it finishes, and you get to write that book about yourself every single day. So make it a beauty, make it a bestseller.
So many great words of wisdom there, and I'm going to remember that story from that counselor. So where can people find you if they want to stay in touch with the things that you're up to, maybe find out more about this golf course? What link should I put in the description for you?
I would love people to come with me on a Project Athena adventure. More than anything. Or so they can either find me at worldclassteams.com, which is my my leadership and team building company, or the nonprofit is Project Athena, projectathena.org. And we would love any of your listeners to come on an adventure with us. And we travel as one big team. So it's not that scary, I'm going to be last or I'm going to get beat, or we travel as one big team of 25 to 30 people, survivors and volunteers, all together as one big team taking care of each other. So it's really inspiring. And we just make it happen. Just make it happen together. We all start together, we all finish together, and we all take care of each other along the way. So yeah, I mean, if you want a big goal that is completely doable and that is one of the most inspiring things you've ever done, not only kind of traveling along these awesome survivors, but then inspiring and amazing yourself.
Oh, that's just
come play with us.
incredible. Well, everybody be sure to check out those resources. And if you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe, because there are so many inspirational interviews still to come. And in the meantime, Robyn, thank you so much for taking some time and talking about taking the donut, going after opportunity, and just giving us some things to think about.
Yay. Well, thank you for inviting me. I love this whole thing. This is very cool what you're doing.
Thank you for that. Okay, everybody, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye.
Bye.